Hello everyone, this is Honey introducing a 2v2 between MYM and fnatic. The players today are Mondragon Paranoid versus TT1 and Phoenix. What a weird name. And the shoutcaster that will be bringing you this game will be Crota.
Alright, Honey wanted to do an intro. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, everyone, welcome to Game 2 in this best-of-3 matchup. We have Mondragon spawning as the blue Zerg. Meanwhile, down over here, we have Paranoid spawning as the red Zerg. Back on the left-hand side of the map, we have Phoenix spawning as the orange Terran. And then finally, TT1 spawning as the light blue or the cyan, the cyan Protoss here on Monolith Ridge. We are going for a pylon here as an early scout now making his way out. Most likely a supply depot going to be built on the front door as well, as the double Zerg may try to go for a little bit more early pressure this time around. It looks like TT1 and Phoenix looking to do the same exact strategy that they did in the last matchup, which was to go for reactor Hellions into double starport Banshees. A very safe strategy, as long as no one tries to get 6 pooled, you are going to be fine. Otherwise, if you get 6 pooled, you quickly find yourself behind as your front door seal is not ready. And then double 6 pulling into one person is able to get a lot of damage off very quickly. We'll see what happens here as Paranoid opening up with a pretty standard build that you see in 1v1 Extractor over here at 13. Meanwhile, we'll see what Mondragon tries to go for. As Mondragon, is he going to actually try to go... it looks like he's actually trying to go for perhaps a fast hatchery, and TT1 just wandering around with this probe over here, delaying that, and Mondragon just perhaps getting very annoyed as this one drone sitting over here for so long, really not able to do anything at all. It looks like the extractor and the spawning pool being placed down instead, but that will be significantly delayed as this drone tries to finish off this probe over here. 2 units as that probe just wanders back and forth. That probe, it looks like it is going to get destroyed, and Mondragon's drone can grow up and be a hatchery today. Back over here, Phoenix already is trading up and getting gas there. While barracks is being placed down, most likely a reactor will be added here, another supply depot added here to finish off this wall in, as both players know that Zerglings should be coming in just a moment. Is he actually going to go for a factory here? Yeah, go for a factory here, the reactor there, and then a supply depot here in just a moment. And as we are already upgrading to an orbital command, overlords in position in multiple locations, being able to spot and figure out what exactly is happening. TT1 going into a very fast double gas now. So the double gas build, perhaps for a lot of sentries, we'll see if it works as well this time around, as a zealot needs to quickly get off into that location there. Another gateway finally being warped in, as we are getting those reactor and these Hellions. A second gas has not been placed down yet by Phoenix, so it is not going to have any double starports at all anytime soon, as double starports does require a decent amount of gas before anything can really get set up. We are getting that cybernetics core researching back over here, a sentry also being added. Perhaps it should be queued up back over here instead, as that zealot in hold position fighting off against the swarm. You can see how brave that one zealot is, and now in comes another sentry. The sentry going to be able to hold off a lot more units, and now in comes a force field there, but the force field was actually misplaced, and the Zerglings unable to squeeze by those, so they're actually able to get up the ramp but unable to squeeze by any further. This one sentry trying to hold off the swarm, already getting up to 4 kills. And wow, lucking out there. One Hellion finally out, and that is going to be a lot of damage to deal from that Hellion, as the Hellion doesn't have to deal with the speed boosted Zerglings just quite yet. The Zerglings only moving at 2.95, but that metabolic boost gives those Zerglings such a fast additional movement speed upgrade. I believe it's more than 50% faster, as those Hellions is finally backing off and regrouping together. 5 Hellions looking to deal some damage here. 5 Hellions. One of them is in the yellow, as those Zerglings are now swarming around back over here, perhaps looking to just try to flank one of these groups of Hellions. And you can see the Zerglings now down over here as well. And now in comes those Zerglings. The Zerglings just trying to swarm. It is going to be 5 Hellions pretty easily in just a moment. Where are the rest of those Hellions there? As another Hellion now bringing up the rear. We are going into another reactor. So this is not going to be that starport play that we saw in the last game that worked so well. No, instead it is going to be into Marine Marauder, as these Hellions look to gain some map control. We perhaps will see an expansion attempt by some of these players, by the fnatic team, as well as the Hellions are now going to walk up that ramp. You can see that there is one spine crawler currently being built, but that is just all there is, as those 6 Hellions just going to torch that one spine crawler rather easily, and now fighting against a swarm of Zerglings. Just swarming in on multiple sides, and so much damage to be had, but the red and blue just trying to fight back against the red flames. And now Phoenix going to lose a lot of his Hellions, but a lot of damage has been dealt already. A Baneling's Nest in the back, stopping any of the movement from those Hellions. Hellions unable to drive by. And now it looks like we're going to have a counter push coming in from Mondragon. Mondragon now getting a larger swarm army-wise. You can see the Sentry army of TT1, just how strong it is. And he has the larger army at this stage in the game. You can see another Nexus has been warped in. I would have liked to see that Nexus a little bit earlier when he had that map control with those Hellions. But now that the map control has now gone in favor of MYM, this is going to be a little bit more difficult. There are Hellions up on the high ground, quickly taking down another group of Zerglings there. And now a lot of Sentries coming in here. The Sentries fighting back, so many Sentries, and just able to finish those units off rather quickly. A Zealot also there in order to just try to fend off the attack, and now more Hellions coming in. These Zerglings trying to run away. It doesn't look like many of them will be able to escape by. The Zerglings now going to walk up that ramp, see a front door seal, and now back off. Taking a look at the losses, very, very heavy losses for MYM so far, just taking the majority of that damage. And meanwhile, production-wise, we are going into another hatchery, so it is going to be four base play by MYM off of all of the Zerg creep, and now more Spine Crawlers being added in. It's going to be very difficult for Phoenix to really do anything about those Hellions, and taking 25 damage per impaling of those tentacles there. And also a Spine Crawler being positioned on the ramp. So that is a very curious position. It's going to make it very difficult for those Hellions to perhaps squeeze by that very small opening there, as the Spine Crawlers are just slowly pushing their way forward. Spine Crawlers, a very, very strong unit that attacks rather quickly. I think the DPS is actually higher than a siege tank against armored units if you don't count for splash. So think of them as siege tanks that can only siege up on creep. Anyways, back over here, the Hellions, the Marines now making their way out, going to go ahead and shoot down one of those Overlords. One Overlord quickly going to get removed out of play, and this is rather surprising that Phoenix is still running off of one gas, one base so far. A lot of Marines now being trained up. The combat shield nearly completed. The Marines already have the stim pack as well, but there is no medevacs to add to this group. What's going to be a very, very key and critical point on this battle are the Sentries. The Sentries need to get down those force fields rather quickly in order to make sure that those Banelings do not get a lot of splash damage. The Stalkers are going to have a bit of a problem as well, and there's also even a Spore Crawler to make sure that if there's any Banshees, that those Banshees are not going to get cleaned up as either. In comes the Marines, in comes the force fields preventing any of those units from coming in at all, and now Roach is getting destroyed. So one at a time these units are falling, and now the force field's coming in once more, just stopping many of these attacks. So this is absolutely a beautiful attack by TT1 with those force fields. Hellions now perhaps should be just trying to charge up that ramp. Another Spine Crawler going to get taken down, and I'm not quite sure. And there's the GG once more. So Phoenix, so GG by Mondragon and Paranoid, and I'm not sure if this was actually game 2 or game 3, but it looks like Fnatic was able to take the game without any real issue and winning it 2-0. But this is rather confusing for me because I have a third game, so they perhaps mislabeled the games, and I will be casting game 3 in this best of 3 matchup, but hopefully I am mistaken. But yeah, it looks like Fnatic going to be moving on. I will go ahead and give the announcement of what is happening in the finals to you in Game 3. Stay tuned.